Everybody, Ray Brem here, Book Profit School Premium Pass Q&A, and I think I'm starting a few seconds early. We've probably got a delay, so you're going to be watching this on time. Welcome aboard, and what we're going to do is if you've got any questions about Book Profit School, the topics we covered, I've got some news about stuff coming out that you're going to get as Premium Pass members, and that's it. It finally came live on my earpiece here, so now we're about 30 seconds or so delayed. So if you ask a question, it might take me about 30 seconds to even know that you asked the question or to actually respond to it. But here's the deal. So let's talk Book Profit School a little bit. It was an amazing experience. It was my first summit, and it's actually caused me to pivot my business a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second, but also to rethink book launching and all of that, because if you're like most people, and this is the way I started. I have a myth. I've had this myth in my head that launching and bestseller equals money, and it doesn't always do that. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit. So glad to have you here, and let's do that, because if you got a question, we're going to we'll just kind of batch them up and do them in little spots throughout here. But one of the things I want to do is show you real quickly inside Book Profit School. We've changed a couple things around. I've added a bonus sessions area, so you might not have seen that until a few days ago. And in here we've got Navid Moasis, and he talks about virtual summits, and I'm going to be harping on that a lot today. And then we've got Marie Incontrera, and she talks about how to get TEDx gigs. So those are a couple awesome additions. I've got about, let's say, I think about 5 or 6 things in the queue, and sorry, my little screen switcher wasn't switching right. It switched with interestingly, it switched the app it was on. So I've got a few things in the queue. I'm talking to Dana Derricks in a couple days. I don't know if you don't know him, I'm super excited. He's a Dream 100 guy. He wrote the book Dream 100. He's one of Russell Brunson's perennial speakers and pals, and runs a great business. He's a goat farmer, and we're going to be adding that to the Premium Pass, so that's all. You've already got access to that. It's all good and free addition to you. So we've talked about Navid, we've talked about Marie there, and who else? I've got about a total of 10. So we got 2 already in your Premium Pass area. The others will be going in there. We're going to be re-releasing Book Profit School the first full week of July, so right after 4th of July weekend. But you don't need to do anything because you already got it. And so you might not even get an email. I won't pester you about it. But we're going to re-release it to a larger audience and with these extra bonuses. So flipping back to that real quickly again, I'm going to show you these bonus sessions. They may get moved. I may move Navid into day 4 and Marie into day 3, just based on the topics. So you might see that. So the summit bonuses, that's still there. If you haven't checked it out yet, I added Amazon bestseller formula. This is how I launch books in there. We got a couple free books. You got Kartra, 100 covers. Eric Vanderhoop gave us 24 interviews from his Publishing Success Summit, which is the largest of its kind. So there's a lot in here, probably more than most courses you have seen. You can search the sessions with Searchy, and we've added bestseller formulas actually here, so it's a lot easier to get to. But we mention it in the bonuses here, and there's a link to it. So that's what's going on there. Now, let's talk about some of the lessons learned from Book Profit School, because, and I've been hinting at it, this is what I got from it. And it's a high level. There's obviously, you're going to want to go through these sessions multiple times. But here's what I got out of it, and I'm going to share with you in these slides. In the Book Profit School, these are the 3 lessons I learned. Every single person in there talked about building an email list, and it's one of those things I put off and said, well, I'm not going to do that while I'm not going to do that while I'm writing my book or doing something else. No, that actually, you should be doing that no matter what, whether your book's done or not. Think about how you're going to start building that email list. And so that was lesson number 1. And I literally, every single person mentioned it, and most of them mentioned it as the top priority. Even people that were talking about book funnels or other things, they talked about the list being the thing that feeds those book funnels, at least in the beginning. So focus on your email list. And then the second thing is connection with influencers and peers. And we had a whole section on that, so let's go back into our area here. But you can see this increasing your influence. There's a lot about connections here. If you haven't looked, Cloris, Matt, Mira, Anna talks about reaching out through podcast guesting, and Paul talks about the 3 pillars of authority. That whole section is about connecting with influencers, and this is another thing I put off because I said, well, I'm not ready. I'm not gonna be able to start doing that until I'm already famous. This kind of thing we think about. I can't start my email list yet because nobody knows me. I can't connect with anybody yet because no one knows me. And yet those are the 2 most critical things to do from the very beginning. Whether you have your book published or not, those are the 2 most important things to do. So the third thing is focusing on income. And here's the problem here. So I'm a book guy. I love books. But what I've slowly been paying attention to the last couple of years, and it's been now drilled into my head, is the book doesn't do those things. Your book doesn't do those things. Your book serves a specific purpose, and that is authority, share your message, but it's a little bit, it can do the email list. You can have an opt-in in it, and of course you should. And I tell everyone the first thing, what is your opt-in going to be that I work with inside your book to get people to your email list, but that's still a slow process. So you've got to work to get somebody to buy the book, and then you got to work to get them to get on your email list. Connection with influencers and peers. It's made a lot easier to connect people. If you've got a book, they can look you up on Amazon. It's kind of like your resume to get in touch. When people, I know when people contact me, I go and check Amazon, see if they got a book. So that's one of the things, that's helpful about the book, but it's still a little slow because then what's your outreach going to be? Hey, can you promote my book to your audience? There's not a lot of incentive there when you're asking for the favor first, and a lot of our speakers talk about that in Tom Morcus, if you look in day 5, he talks about that and how you connect with people right, and you're not trying to connect with massive amounts of people, but just the right people with the right audiences and build real connections. But that's not as easy if you're saying, hey, I got a book and cool, can you talk to me? Can you help me out? And I'll get to that in a minute, how we solve that problem. And then, of course, the income side of it. Most people, with the exception of the amazing Mark Recklau, who's day 1 speech one, because I wanted him out there because he is making a killing on royalties, but he's had a very consistent focus, and all he's done is focus on that, and not for for an hour a day, but for a year or so, and he had the luxury to do that. Not everyone does. You've got your other job probably, or you're running an online business, and becoming a master at running Amazon ads, if that's what you want your career to be, that's great. If not, then we've got to figure out a different way to do it, because most people aren't making money with the royalties, and that's the big secret, that the myth we tell ourselves, and nobody's dispelling the myth. I'm going to start doing it. You're going to see me start doing it a lot coming up, but no one's dispelling that myth. And that's why Book Profit School came about, because I wanted to know what everybody else was doing, because I was helping people launch their books. And just like my first experience launching my book was like, wait, where's the money? I hit bestseller. Doesn't this mean I'm making 10 or 20,000 a month? No, not really. So that's the whole idea behind Book Profit School. And what's interesting here, and where I'm getting to with this, is that the whole Book Profit School itself is made me come to the realization that the book doesn't. I already knew the book wasn't going to be the thing that did it, but a summit actually can. Running your own summit like Book Profit School can actually check all those boxes, and I'm going to be pushing that coming up, where I actually, because books alone won't do it. You need a book. It's authority. It's sharing your message. It gives you some structure around what your message is, and you've done this beautiful thing building a book. But don't misinterpret what the role a book plays in your business. It does not play. It's not the money game. I'm going to do some whiteboarding here. So your book, it does not equal money, right? It equals authority. It teaches you how to express yourself. It is a huge accomplishment, but don't try to use it. Don't try to use a hammer to screw in a screw. We need a screwdriver for that. And for the income side of things, the book's not going to do it. So pick something from Book Profit School and focus on that. But what I am doing now is telling people that they should, if they come to me to launch a book, I am saying, okay, if you want to, this is a little crude rocket I'm drawing here, right? If you want to launch your book, we need to add in a virtual summit, and I don't even know what the image of a virtual summit is, but one of these kind of picture with all these faces on it. Build it with a virtual summit. So what I'm actually doing with clients now is saying, look, let's tie in a summit either before or after your book launch, because we want to make sure that we get as many emails as possible. Make sure we have a great. There's almost no better excuse to connect with influencers than to say, "Do you mind if I interview you for 20 minutes on my summit and tell people about how great you are?" I mean, most people won't turn that down. It's just sometimes it takes a little effort to get a hold of them, but most people, I ask, and I'm petrified to ask, and they say, "Yes, I'll do that." So it's really a really cool thing. So what I'm focusing on, and this is what I got out of Book Profit School personally, doesn't have to be what you got, but it is the idea that you can actually, if you want to make money from your book launch, then let's get a summit built in there. If you want to build your email list fast, let's get a summit in there. If you want to connect with influencers, let's get a summit in there. And ideally, if you have a book right now and you're not sure how you're going to launch it, what you're going to do, I would host a summit first, then do the launch, and maybe do them back-to-back weeks. But probably at the very least, put a summit in there about 30 days out, because then you could ask the influencers to share it. When they see success with your summit, you become friends with them. You run a good summit, and now they like working with you. So that's you want your launch to be bigger. Let's get those connections done. And so I've got a couple partnerships I'm working on with people to do summits with them. We built our summit, Book Profit School, all in Kartra. You saw me harping on that on day 4. You see that Kartra is in the summit bonuses and so forth, because I wholeheartedly believe you can waste so much time trying to merge all different products together when Kartra does it all. And today, in fact, they just removed a couple of the only things that annoyed me. There's no limit now on emails you can send, and there's no limit on bandwidth, video bandwidth. So now you can house everything in there. You don't need you've got videos you can house in there and emails, and really it just the price changes with the size of your email list, which is normal for everybody, but it's all in one package. So what I'm doing actually is building summits for people, either standalone or part of their book launch, to create that higher level of authority. So the book's going to give you authority, no doubt about it. But you can get this another piece of authority from obviously going on podcasts and so forth. You check out Anna's session, Anna Sabino, or you can build it with a summit. And the great thing about the summit is then when you're working with the people I'm working with, they can get their money back. They can pay for their entire book launch by just running a summit. They can put money in their pocket, most likely. I mean, I'm not making any financial promises here or legal advice, but that's part of what I learned was there's a lot more to this than just, most of the people that we had on the summit, they're not, and that's why I brought them on, because I knew they weren't just making money off their books, except for the amazing Mark Recklau, of course. So that's how I'm seeing that play out, and I think this is the next generation, and you've seen it really. The entire world has now been learned about Zoom, right, and webinars and online summits and virtual summits. Now's the time. We've just trained the entire world to learn how to pay attention, learn what even a virtual summit is. Most people didn't know what that is. Now my 80-year-old mom is setting up Zoom calls on Sundays, and we never used to do that. So everybody has learned how to consume content this way. If you can make a virtual summit part of your book, part of your book launch, or just part of your ongoing marketing and authority growth, that's something you can do. And then you snap in all these other pieces. So let's take a look back in our premium pass area. But, coaching business, Tembi. Alinka's got a whole bunch of different businesses. Eric talks about the 30 streams. I think we only got to 12 of them on his call, but he's got about 30 streams he talks about. Doing all these cool things like Chris says, bundling other products with it on Amazon. There's so many ways to do that. The book funnel, the 4-day cash machine we talk about, live events, virtual events, selling other people's products through affiliates. There is an endless amount of things you can do, and each one of those things is useful. And of course, you can't do them all at once. But they all come back to these three things, and those are email lists, connection with influencers and peers, and that's why and this is not something, I've just as a result of Book Profit School, I've fallen in love with summits as a snap-on to your book. And here's the thing. Let's see. I'm going to move off screen here and just get a couple props. But you can not only that, like for instance, Author Inc. We did this in December last year. 30 authors. I just sent them a Google form and asked them some questions, and they filled out the answers. And this is a doggone good book, cover by 100 covers, by the way. And that was a summit in a book. But the thing it was lacking was I didn't have a good incentive for all the other people. They emailed, but they had almost everybody has their own stuff to do. So what's the incentive for them to promote the book? Well, we were trying to hit bestseller on the USA Today. Great, but you know what will get people to send for them is income. So guess what's coming out as a result of my Book Profit School Summit? Book Profit Secrets. This is coming out. You just got the biggest sneak peek of anybody, because I'm not going to even tell anybody about this for a few months while we get the editing done. But, this is, right now it's 800 pages, which is too much. You can see that thing. It's a great paperweight. But You can take a summit and turn it into a book. So listen, if you're still kind of like figuring out your book, oh my gosh, you can create a book from a summit, and you don't have to write all the chapters. You might write one, or you might write none, or you might write the introduction, because the content has been crowdsourced. And so I've done a book as a summit, and then I've done a summit and turned it into a book. And this mirror effect is hard to, or it's not the mirror effect, so I don't know which way to move my arm to get this on the screen. But anyway, if you're struggling to get your own book out, why not get 20 or 10 or 20 or 30 people to give you their best ideas and put it in a book as well? So that is, okay, that's my rant about summits. But we're going to talk about, we'll be adding Dana Derrick Stream 100 this weekend, probably, hopefully. And I've got 2 more interviews this week. I don't know off the top of my head. There's going to be between 8 and 10 more. We've got 2 already posted, so between 6 and 8 more. We'll just be going in there. I'll shoot you an email when we got it. Let's just keep in mind, I would, pick something. If you haven't gone through it in a while, pop in here and just see what topic interests you. I know there's a lot of info here. Oh, I do want to show you one other thing, but I'll show you that in a second. But we've got Derek, David, Daniel Hall, all these great speakers on here with great ideas, and they built businesses, and 99% of them have their business really run. Their book is their business card. So they might walk up and hand you this and say, "Hey, I'm the author of this. Take a copy." But they realize that this is not their earner. This is not the breadwinner of the family. Something else is. And we need to build our list fast, especially now that we've got this global audience that's just been trained to consume stuff online. And that's why I like it. I like book funnels as well. People like to promote those. And the cool thing is, once you've had a summit, you can pretty much, and they had a little bit of success, the people on your summit will promote your stuff because you've proven yourself to them. And so then you can snap on a book funnel. You can snap on a coaching funnel. And so you can snap on a webinar that sells your course, or however you want to do it. One of the things that happened with me is right after the summit, I helped someone else do their summit, just as a friend of mine, and struck a little business deal. He said, "Hey, let's come in with me on this summit. Let's do it again." It was the same exact summit, 75 days later, same speakers. He added some bonus sessions, and quintupled his list and revenue numbers from the first one, and everybody had already seen the emails for it. So super cool. Okay, so I've been hyping on that long enough, but I would go back through and just pick some of the Book Profit School stuff that seems interesting to you, refresh your memory about it, and then consider doing a summit for yourself. And I took in the toolbox. If you go in the toolbox, there's links to Naveed Moassis's summit cheat sheet. I'm going to be adding those of you who are subscribers to BookFlix, I'm going to be adding a Summit 101 course there. I'll probably just add it to Book Profit School. I'm not sure if it'll be in this round or not, but at some point you'll see it. You'll have access to it. And then I do want to show you this. So the next round, this will be interesting. And I'm not sure how I'm going to price it yet, but you guys will get some kind of ridiculous one-time deal. Let's see here. Here's my phone. There's little Ray. Not a long time ago, probably 6 years ago. See, this Learnistic app is you can build your own app. And I am building my own app, and I'm going to deliver the next version of Book Profit School in the app. So I'm testing it now, and I'm testing the look and feel with this kind of the underground stuff. But you can see Here's some of the stuff I've got in my app right now. Here's Book Profit School. You can see it's, Mark Recklau, Matt Stone. So that's day one there. So you're going to be able to consume this all from your phone. And that's pretty cool. Here's the TEDx one with Marie and Naveed's Virtual Summit. So there's 32 sessions in here as it is. It's going to be close to 40. There'll be some small fee for this, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot easier to consume content on the app. I've got a Book Funnels 101 course from my Book Funnel University brand, and I'm going to release that with the app. So I might be just selling that and giving people if you've got Book Profit School, I'll give you access to Book Profit School on here. Virtual Summit Solution. You saw the sneak peek for the Book Profit Secrets. And then the Red Pill, that's gotten some press lately, but I think I'll leave it in there because I love the Matrix stuff. Is every time I discover a secret, like everybody leaves you thinking until you launch your book. Until you find out the hard way, no one really tells you that you're not going to make a ton of royalties, except for these outliers that I had some of them on our summit. But it's been pretty amazing. So that's the kind of the update here. Book Profit Secrets, I don't know when this is going to come out because it's kind of I would like to clean it up. I might look for a ghost writer. I'm not sure as far as just taking the transcripts, cleaning up, because I'm not sure I can sit still that long because there's so much good stuff in here, but I'm not sure if I just wanted to read like interviews. That's what Author Inc. does. This is basically interview format, and it works well, but can I massage this into a more traditional book along the lines of Russell Brunson type? Maybe. We'll see. And I'm still obviously getting content for it. So that's the great influence of that. I will probably, after I talk to Dana, I'll probably post his book here into, so Dana Derricks, I will probably do his bonus session will be in there for sure. And then in the toolbox, I'll probably put his book, Dream 100, a link in there for you because that's a great book to have as well. So just remember that email list, connection with influencers, and income are three things that we need to focus on no matter what you pick from Book Profit School. And as I said, I'm now going to be focusing on, at least for myself and some of my one-on-one clients, is summits. How do we work that into a book launch? How do we build your email list? A lot of people are starting their book launch with 0 or 100 on their email list. That's how I did it. But how would that change things if you had 2,000 or 3,000 people on your email list to start with and then launch, and then you had 20 or 30 other influencers who are willing to send people to your book because you made them some money on your summit as affiliates. So there's a lot of exciting stuff. And I'll tell you what, back in January, I knew I was going to run a summit, and I was thinking, well, we'll just do the traditional stuff about how a book builds authority, and we'll do the talks. And I said, that's not really, at the risk of losing people's interest, and I don't think it did actually in the long run, but I want to know how everybody else, how all these other superstars are making money on the back of their books and really making money. And let's get past the idea that it's, and you heard everybody in the summit, virtually everybody in the summit said, a book is just a marketing piece. It's not an income producer, but that first book we think is going to be the thing. And it's not the thing. It's one of our tools in our toolbox. And now let's add another tool to your toolbox. Pick one thing from Book Profit School, do it. And if you're interested in summits, you can talk to me. I'm happy to chat with you about it. You can make a point with me. I don't do any hard sales on the phone. I certainly make myself available to people if I have time. But we've got couple summits now we're working on, actually 3. And that's about as much as we can take at one time, but they're at least or in 1 month, but we've got them staggered. So we do have, some space. And now I'm working with Navid Moises has licensed me to sell his templates and pages and email copy and all that stuff. So that makes it a lot easier for me to help people. And so that's what I'll be doing. My resulting focus from Book Profit School is summits and helping my clients with summits. And what is yours? What are you going to do now to take advantage of what you saw in Book Profit School? You got that stuff for a lifetime, but don't wait for a lifetime to watch it. Go back, browse through it, pick one, and watch the video you think is the one for you. If it is, start. And I would reach out to the speaker of that video and see how they can help you. If you like one of the things there, reach out to them. These guys are all very accessible. They're very successful, and they're very accessible. It's great. They love helping people. So, thanks for joining me. And we're recording this, so we'll post it in the bonus session section. And if you've got, you can always reach out to me if you got some questions. And if you want to attend the next one, of course, you'll be a Premium Pass member. But, for this, it's just a re-release of Book Profit School 1.0 with the bonus sessions. You're going to already have all that, but feel free to participate in any way you want. And thanks for joining me. We will talk to you soon.